Hello, welcome to Digs Outdoors. Today I'm going to talk about starting to plan for 2025. Sorry about that. And we haven't talked about fishing for a bit, so we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit. And I'm going to show you one of the tournaments that I'm actually going to plan on fishing come next year. So let's get into that. This is the Kayak Adventure Series. So let me jump over here. And this is called Broodstock 2. It's going to be next September 12th and 13th up in Franklin, Pennsylvania. Trying to think how I want to do this. So there we go. We're going to go up here. The amount of incredible water in the Keystone State can be overwhelming. However, we've narrowed it down for you because few realize how special the oil region in the northwest corner of the state really is. I can back that statement up. I've been in that area many times. If you're a history buff, you'll love this area. Absolutely love it. Especially if you're looking at old oil history, town history. Even so, there's some natural history up there. There's a couple places where they found Native American petroglyphs. So there's a ton of stuff up there to be found. It's not just the smallmouth in the Allegheny, but the incredible largemouth fishing in surrounding lakes. Broodstock 2 will have one major storyline heading into it. Green or brown, running water or flat water, either way it shakes out. We know one thing certain. Broodstock 2 and Allegheny Adventure is a grand finale that you won't want to miss. And some of these lakes that we're going to get into, I've fished, and they all have great fish in them. Let's put it that way. They all do. I fished the Allegheny River a couple, 2, 3 times. Years ago, not lately, but years ago, I've done that. Was pulling like 4-pounders out of there, 4 or 5-pounders, which in Pennsylvania, it's depending on what state you're from, that doesn't sound big. In Pennsylvania, that's a decent sized largemouth. In a minute. The open finale boasts bigger payouts and prizes that have been held back. Yeah, that have been held back to make this one as special as possible, with a $10K GoPro guarantee first place payout. We'll also be crowning our 2025 AOY and the TMOY at this event, with prize packages already at $10,000 plus and $5,000 plus respectively, with a modern buggy overland camping trailer, $9,000, being the grand prize for AOY. If you haven't seen one of those modern buggy camping trailers, primo. Now, I'm not going to be doing enough events to get to AOY. I'm just going to be doing this one event. But this is looking like this is going to be wild. Wait till we get to the eligible waters. This is going to be almost like the Wild West. Okay, be sure to take in all the oil region has to offer, with numerous hiking trails, scenic overlooks, waterfalls, and plenty of history, art, and culture to go along with tremendous lodging, restaurants, and other modern-day comforts for the family. Beautiful downtown Franklin is where the KAS Closing Ceremony Festival will be held, complete with food, music, kids zone, games, vendors, Toyota truck demos, and more. Adjacent to the festival in the park is the historic Barlow Civic Theater, where the awards presentation and the final results will be announced. This event will change a few anglers' lives and change the course of KAS forever. Event details coming by 2/5/25, so this is just the beginning of it. So give me 1 second here. Let me get this set up, and we'll take a look at the water eligible for this. Come on, you monkey. You gotta get out of your damn dish. Please. I had to take care of my dog real quick. Okay. We're going to look at the core lakes here first, which is going to be Lake Arthur, Glade Lake, Lake Wilhelm, Kell Lake, Piney Reservoir, come on, Tynesta Lake, Justice Lake, Tamarack Lake, Woodcock Creek Lake, Conneaut Lake, or Lake Conneaut, Palmatuming, and Shenango. So that is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lakes on this. That's just the lakes. Now we're going to get into the rivers. All these little blue marks here, these are lakes. So we're going to get into the river part of it here. French Creek, which is, they call it French Creek. It's actually a small river. It is pretty big. The Allegheny River and the Clarion River. So there are plenty of bodies of water to be used in this. Hey, how you doing, Carol? I'll go back to the other window. Okay, including all other free-flowing canals, creeks, and rivers feeding in. When scouting online or in person, track all tributaries upstream from one of the core bodies of water listed until you hit any of the following man-made obstacles: solid or earthen dam, or road, culvert, or pipe, etc., that you cannot kayak under or over. Any of these points are hard KS boundaries. However, a spillhead or a spillway or a lowhead dam is legal in KS, and anglers can fish and access above and below them. They're just running the river and are different from solid or earthen dams that have water flowing under the dam via a pipe or drain. Think neighborhood or farm ponds, private lakes, etc., or through larger outflows or turbines on larger public lake dams. If the water above a non-spillway type dam is legal in KS, it will be marked and listed as one of your core bodies of water on this page map. If not, then it's not legal for the event. So, with that being said, let us check out some of these bodies of water here. And I'm going to actually start with one that I don't think I fished yet, which is Glade Lake. Which I do believe I've actually been to this lake before, but I wasn't fishing it. I was actually hiking. Yeah, I have been here, but I've never fished it. I was hiking the game lands around it. I mean, we're not going to be doing a study right now, but I'm just going to be looking at these bodies of water just to see anything that I might be, I won't say might be missing, but I might consider going to. Like my home lake is in here. That would be Arthur, which we're going to probably look at that last. But definitely interesting, small but interesting lake. And also, what puts this one in consideration for me, this one may be one of the ones that may get overlooked. So, zoom out from that one. Zoom out a little bit more. The Shenango River Reservoir. Hang on. Let's get over here. And the reason I'm kind of doing it in in this program and not, or I should say in this website and not using my Google Earth Pro is I kind of have this all marked up. I know what the markings mean on it, and I'd have to go to about a couple hours just to explain the markings on Shenango and Lake Arthur. Okay, yeah, that. See, I do know from looking at the map, I have one of the paper maps of this too. I do know, like down this at this end, can't remember where. I think it starts right about in here, or around in this area someplace. From here, the whole way down to the inlet where Shenango River comes in. All of this is no wake zone, which Shenango is a unlimited horsepower lake. Glade Lake, I am not so sure. I don't think I maybe electric motor only on that one. This one's unlimited, so you're gonna have your pleasure boaters and everything else. So if I came to this lake, especially on a weekend, I'm probably gonna be down here on this end because I'll keep them pleasure boaters and the jet skiers and everything at bay in the no wake zone because they, from what I hear, they do watch us like a hawk. And if I'm in a kayak, I don't have to worry about the whole no wake zone thing. And the other thing is, here's the river. I can go up this river according to the rules until I come to some point that's a hard stop. So that's something to think about. Piney Reservoir. I don't think I've ever looked at that one. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, there's the dam. That's not looking too bad, actually. Not looking too bad at all. I'm up on a Clarion River right now. And from the looks at it, there's only one launch on it. Timberwolf Lodge. There's Route 80. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever been to this one either. It's Kill Lake. No, I've never been there either. Okay, we've got two access points into it. This is one I'm definitely going to want to look at in Google Earth, especially for this area right in here. I'd like to know what is going on with that. Because that kind of looks like that could be like either a shoal or like underwater or a shallow mud flat. So yeah, that's interesting. It's pockets up in here. Okay. So yeah, and this is what I mean by this. This kind of makes me think like it's the Wild West because you got all these different places you can go to. I mean, lots of different places you can go to. Tiny Nest Lake. Now, this is one I have looked at before on Google Earth. One I eventually want to fish. And there seems like there's a lot going on here. Okay, it's an Army Corps race, Army Corps Lake race lake. There's one boat launch there. It looks like that's the only. Oh, it come up too far. That looks like that is the only boat launch. There's Tiny. Yeah, the reason I was looking at this before is I actually wanted to do a float trip down Tynesta Creek and end up down here in Tynesta Lake. Where was? There's Nebraska. I thought this was gonna be maybe this is one my single day, but I actually wanted to. I was gonna start probably about 10, 15 miles away from here, come down Tynesta Creek, end in Tynesta Lake, and pull out down here. But that wasn't for the tournament. That was just a trip I was planning. But yeah, there's some interesting things in here. These little coves in here could hold a lot. Yeah, like these little like this Glass in a Run. These little pockets, believe it or not, can hold your winners. This is very interesting right in here. It looks like the water would actually come up into this area every now and again when the water gets high. It doesn't happen too often. So if the water's high, this is another area to kind of take a look at. Because if the water's covering all this puts all this into play now. Nice little point here. Another area right in here that's of interest. If you can see this like this, depending on what the weather's like, this could be productive. It might not. But if the water is high, this is probably going to hold something here on the south side of the bend. If the water's low, you may want to do the inside of bend right in here, where the water's a little bit deeper. Okay, let's go to the next one, which that one was Justice Lake. Now, Justice Lake, I believe I might need a launch permit for if I do go to that one, because it is a county park, not a Army Corps or state parkway. My kayak is registered, but most county parks don't recognize a registration. They want you to buy their launch permit. So that's something I'm going to have to dig into before I go. Okay, so we have a boat launch up here, up on the northern end of it. I kind of like where this is coming in. There's a lot of vegetation, a lot of structure where all this is coming in here. So we're going to go on down here ways. Nice little cove back in here. What is that? Yeah, see, if the water's up above this, stuff like this that you're seeing, like right on the top of the water. The water's high and that's covered. That could hold fish right there, especially in September. Okay, and this is the bottom end. That's the dam. Nice, another nice little cove back into here. Okay, and don't look for anything groundbreaking right now. I'm just kind of taking a look at a lot of these bodies of water. As I said, my home lake's in this, and let's put it this way: if I did my fishing on the home lake, which I'm not sure if I'm going to do or not, but if I did my fishing on the home lake, I could sleep in my bed during my own bed during the tournament. So, which in a lot of ways, I'm not saying it would, but that's with a tournament like this. That's something you might want to look at if you can get away with it, because that's a massive advantage. I won't say a massive, but that could be an advantage for the fact that you can get home, get a good night's rest, and get back out. Um, Sometimes, if when you're on the road, now a lot of these guys it doesn't matter, but to some of the people where it could, they don't get as good a night's sleep in a tent or in a hotel room as they would in their own bed. So I mean, it may sound like a funny advantage, but it is an advantage. Well, there's a Tri-Cities hat. Okay. Okay, Lake Wilhelm. This is one I have looked at before. It's at Maurice K. Goddard State Park. Okay. We'll get a little bit closer here. Kind of like these little protective coves, especially like a protective cove like this, could hold something. That cove right in there. Now, I'm not sure if there's a horsepower limit on this lake or not. That's one thing I am not sure of. That last one I looked at, that Tynesta, I do not believe there would be. I think that's an unlimited because that's an Army Corps lake. Most Army Corps lakes, unless they're like really tiny in Pennsylvania, are unlimited. Like Shenango is an Army Corps lake too. Okay, there's one boat launch. There's another boat launch there on either side. Yeah, that's the other thing you kind of want to pay attention to in kayak fishing is where all the boat launches are. Compared to where you want to fish. Now, especially for somebody like me, because I do not have a motor as of yet. Let's put it this way, I don't have a motor mounted as of yet. I have a motor, but it's not. It's a just regular trolling motor you put on a John boat. So all the controls are on the handle. And I'm trying to see what it'd be. I found a way to mount it. I just don't have anywhere to move the controls up to my seat because it'd be mounted on the transom of my kayak or on the bow of my, not the bow, but the stern of my kayak. So let me see. That's two boat launches. What we got going on here? Okay, that's Lake Road. I thought there's a little cove back in there, but that's just a little grassy or a little swampy area, but there's a road there too, so we'll pull that back up. Some points in here. Oh, this looks like this is really fishy up in here. This will hold a lot of fish up in here because there's like little pockets, this, that. Just by judging from like the vegetation you see through the water, that there's a bunch of there's a bunch of different elevation changes in there too. And we're changing image here. A little bit more of a fall image. Another point. Lake Wilhelm Marina up here. So another place to launch at. Fourth boat launch. Little small protected bay. Got some inlets here too. That's the other thing that you need to pay attention to, which when I start doing my studying on this, I'm going to study a couple things. I'm going to try to get the paper map for this because I don't have any electronics right now. So if I can get the paper depth chart for this, I can see where all the inlets are. Like I can find a major inlet, but I'm looking for like all those little feeder creeks, little tiny feeder creeks coming into it, because anywhere there's a feeder creek coming in, that's going to be a place for bait fish to congregate, because what they eat is going to be coming out of that creek. And if I find the bait fish, I can find the big fish. I kind of like this area that comes up through here too. Now, there's a couple things I want to check out on the map, because I heard, now this is what I heard, I don't know, that from this area just north of this long boom boat launch and up is kind of like a propagation area. So it's like from here on this way, I do not believe there's any fishing. I could be wrong. I'd like to see that though. If you can fish this, now I'm not sure you can, but if you can fish this, this has me at this is going to be an interesting little thing right here then. Can I get past this? Because if it's just a bridge and I can pass underneath this, and this is fishable water, there's a lot more interesting stuff going on up in here too. Because this gets way up in here. Which this up in here could get real interesting. But okay, why did my map go all pale? Okay, hang on. Let me reload this. Okay, there, I got my color back. So let me check back in here. Hey, Kentucky, how you doing, bud? I've been over on the other screen kind of going through all these different bodies of water, so sorry if I didn't say hi to you as soon as you came in. But yeah, I'm kind of going over plans here, looking at different bodies of water, and this is just preliminary looking right now. When I get the electronics and finish figuring out like what apps and or websites I want to belong to actually look at some water, I got to shuffle some money around before I do that. But once I figure that out, then we can get a little bit deeper into this. But yeah, I'm planning about 11 months out right now. I know. Let's see. 10 months out right now. So, yeah. So let's get back over here in the map. So we just did Wilhelm. That's Lake Wilhelm. So let's look at Tamarack Lake. I think that's another one I never really. I think I marked it, but I didn't really do anything with it. Yeah, we're going to look at rather interesting lake. This is one I probably have to do a little bit of research on. See if there's a horsepower limit. Some interesting things going on along the shoreline here. What the? Give me a second. Sorry, this looked like a racetrack I didn't know about. I'm like, what? What is that? It actually looks like a nice little lake. This is another one I think I might get overlooked. I'm not saying that there's like huge fish in there, but if there is, I would say if there is, but these overlook lakes that don't get as much pressure might be the ticket. And we got Conneaut over here. This is a natural lake, and this is also an unlimited horsepower lake. And this sucker is probably one of the deepest lakes in the state as well. So this is what I want a map for. See where the no wake zones are, if there are any no wake zones, and see like where the real shallow areas are. Like this here looks interesting. You see this point, and then you see this little bit coming off. It's kind of fanning out underwater. This looks like this could be a very interesting point to fish right in here. Off this point, the other reason I say there you got all these docks here, and I'm not sure how these people like the docks being fished. I don't know, the whole unlimited horsepower thing on this is just, it's not appealing, but also something else to keep in mind. It's not the Pennsylvania state record bass, but the Pennsylvania state record muskie was caught out of here at 54 pounds in the early 1900s, and that record has not been broken yet. So there can be some pretty big fish in here. So, but especially in September, this lake's going to be a hive of activity. So we're going to go over to the next one, which is Pymatuming, which I've been to Pymatuming many times. We used to camp here, right here at Jamestown, which is a little bit different now, but we used to camp in the Jamestown campground down in this area, down in here. And there is a lot going on here, let me tell you. But these islands down here always look interesting. There's all these little pockets like this. I think you can get in it. Yeah, I think you can get into that one right over here. So these little protected pockets or protective coves like this can hold a lot. See, I wonder if there's a way to get underneath here, get to some of this over here. If not, that's okay too. But areas like this are kind of interesting too. So, and there's boat ramps all over the place. The other thing about this is pontoon is part in Pennsylvania, part in Ohio. But if you have a license for either state, one license is good on, let's put it this way. If you have a license for either Ohio or Pennsylvania, you can fish the whole lake without having to swap licenses every time you cross the state line. Let's put it that way. But there's a lot of like protected stuff in here too, like Back Passage boat ramp. We got this little protective cove in here. Got some stuff going on over here. Now, Pomatumin, it is a huge lake, but it's a 20 horsepower lake. Like this is an interesting. If you can get back in here, this would be interesting back in here. I'd say I love these little protective coves that you can kind of get back in. Here we go. Now you can see the structure underneath the water. That little line underneath the water, that little ridge, that little saddle in there. That's a potential. This little island right here is a big potential bass holder. Now we're all looking at largemouth areas. I haven't even got into smallmouth. I'm kind of sticking with the largemouth right now because that's what I know a lot better than the smallmouth. But I do want to do some smallmouth fishing this year too. It's got this fishing pier. This is another nice little protective cove right back in here. This is looking very interesting. And like these preliminary searches, this is how you kind of find like where do you want to go. Like Seabird Island. This is another area that got these little islands around here. So you got elevation changes. You're going to have vegetation around through here. You're going to have some prime habitat right here for them. Anytime you have a little island, especially this little pinch point in here, this little pinch point is going to, it may not seem like a lot, but this right here, this little pinch point is going to actually create a little bit of current that you could use as well. See, here's the PA-Ohio border right here. Let's go out. And we're getting up into the major part of the lake now. See if we can find anything a little bit so I can move on to the other ones. Like this area right in here, it's looking interesting. See, like one of my rules is, especially since I'm using a kayak, I always kind of compare it to the boats. Two places I want to look for to use my kayak is places where the boats won't go and places where the boats can't go. And the difference between won't and can't is places where boats won't go. They probably could go there if they wanted to. It just looks a little bit too much of a pain for them to do so. Places where they can't go literally are places that you can't get a boat in there without damaging it. Whereas the kayak can slide right in there. See, this is a very interesting looking area right in here too. See, it looks like it gets a little shallow up in here, but I think this is could be interesting because it looks like it has a feeder coming into it, possibly. Okay, let's zoom back out. Tuttle Point, Sailing Club, the spillway. This causeway right in here. This right here. This is what I'm thinking of. This is mostly, other than Spillway Trail, but this whole area over here usually holds bass as well. In here, well, I think there's a little bit of propagation area in here as well. Okay, I have to wait for that. I have to look on a map. I think this might be a propagation area right in here. So this is, I can't really go past this, but this whole area in here is riprap. I think is that the causeway? Or is this the causeway? There's a couple areas of the road. I think that was the causeway right up here. Or is it down here? Nope, it was up here. Because the causeway, I think, is halfway through the lake. Which would make it this. This isn't a bridge. This is like a riprap going from one side of the lake to the other with a couple places to drive a boat through it. Across this lake on both sides will hold fish. Guaranteed. So that's enough of Pine Bitumen. Let's get on to another one. In fact, let's do this. I'm going to check Okay. So I want to get back into share screen. Window. We'll go back over here. Share. And we're going to do that. Okay, this thing just does not want to cooperate tonight at all. Don't know why. So we'll just go back to